Welcome to Wealth and Luxury. Today, we're diving into the opulent world of luxury mansions, properties so grand they led their owners to bankruptcy or into tragedies far worse than financial loss. Let's explore how the Breakers, Greystone Mansion, and the One Bel Air turned dreams of grandeur into tales of despair. In 1895, Cornelius Vanderbilt II spent $7 million building this house, which is equivalent to more than $220 million in today's money. The Breakers in Newport, Rhode Island, USA, is an Italian Renaissance-style palazzo with 70 rooms filled with exquisite European artworks, a 50-foot-high ceiling, a dining room for 34 guests, a music room, a library, a billiards room, a morning room, 27 fireplaces, and a grand staircase that is a work of art in itself. The exterior of the Breakers is just as impressive, with its manicured gardens, terraces, and oceanfront views. As you can see, the house has everything one can dream of and more, but things designed to impress can also be an enormous financial burden. After Cornelius Vanderbilt II's death, this massive and luxurious mansion drove his descendants to bankruptcy. The Breakers required many servants, housekeepers, gardeners, maids, stable hands, all of whom had to be paid. In addition, when it was first built, there was no federal income tax. After the 16th Amendment was ratified in 1913, the great fortunes of the Gilded Age were exposed for the first time to government taxation, and the Vanderbilts were no exception. Cornelius's daughter, Countess Gladys Vanderbilt, inherited not only the Breakers but also $12.5 million, which is about $340 million in today's money. She was definitely a wealthy woman, but her fortune wasn't enough to pay all those bills. In 1948, running low on funds and desperate to find a solution that would keep the Breakers in the family, Gladys Vanderbilt let Preservation Society of Newport County to turn her house into the tourist attraction. She moved out of the grand rooms on the first and second floors and decamped with her family into third-floor rooms. The deal with the Preservation Society helped the Countess by lowering taxes on the property, but Gladys Vanderbilt was still responsible for paying them and for covering the cost of most major repairs. The Breakers was sucking money out of her pockets constantly, so when she died in 1965, only thing her children inherited was the house with responsibilities, and they couldn't afford to keep it for long. 2 generations after it was built, in 1972, Gladys Vanderbilt's children sold the Breakers to the Preservation Society for $365,000, which is about $2.3 million in today's money and $218 million less than their grandfather paid to build it. Greystone Mansion, also known as the Doheny Estate, was built in the late 1920s at an estimated cost of $3.2 million, about $50 million in today's money. Located in Beverly Hills, one of Los Angeles' wealthiest neighborhoods, the mansion is full of luxurious details and amenities, including some unusual features like a gift wrapping room, a private fire department to protect the property from fires, and secret passages and tunnels. It boasts 55 rooms, a grand ballroom with a large dance floor and stage, a full-size 2-lane bowling alley in the basement, a private theater with a stage and seating for guests, a library, and beautiful gardens. The mansion was built for Edward Ned Doheny Jr. by his father, Edward L. Doheny Sr., a self-made millionaire and American oil tycoon with a net worth of $100 million, roughly $1.5 billion in today's money. Doheny Sr. was a powerful figure who dreamed of making his only son the president of the U.S., and as a symbol of immense wealth, social status, prestige, and influence, Greystone Mansion was intended to highlight Ned's background. These days, mansions like the Doheny Estate are quite common in Beverly Hills, But back in the late 20s, it was flashy and attention-grabbing. Its massive, luxurious design drew eyes to the Doheny family, though not always in a good way. Some sources say that government officials became curious about Doheny Sr.'s business because Greystone Mansion made it clear he had money that couldn't be earned honestly, leading to the infamous Teapot Dome scandal of the 1920s, one of the biggest political corruption events in U.S. history. Doheny Sr. was accused of bribing Albert Fall, the Secretary of the Interior, to secure favorable oil leases, and his son, Ned, was directly involved in delivering the bribe, a whopping $100,000 in cash, to Albert Fall in 1921. This scandal came to light 8 years later, with tragic consequences. Just a few months after moving into his luxurious mansion with his wife, Lucy, and their 5 children, on February 16, 1929, Ned Doheny and his longtime friend and assistant, Hugh Plunkett, were found dead in a guest bedroom of Greystone Mansion. The official version of the story is that the mentally unstable Plunkett shot Ned and then killed himself. This account was based on Lucy's testimony, who said that she didn't notice anything until she heard a gunshot. Instead of calling the police, she called the family doctor to check things out, and they found a distressed Plunkett outside the guest bedroom. He rushed in and shot himself next to Ned's dead body. But almost no one believed it. A millionaire hiring a mentally unstable man as an assistant didn't sound credible. Since the gun belonged to Doheny and not Plunkett, some theories suggest that Ned killed his assistant and then committed suicide because Plunkett knew too much about the bribery and could testify against the Doheny family. Some even say Plunkett was blackmailing Doheny Jr., asking for a salary raise in exchange for his silence. Another unsubstantiated theory about this murder-suicide case is that Ned and Hugh were sexually involved, and that a quarrel over that relationship led to the tragedy, or that Lucy killed them both after learning of their affair. This murder-suicide case remains a mystery to this day, partly because the Doheny family made sure the details remained secret forever. A year after his son's death, Edward L. Doheny Sr. was acquitted of charges of bribery. Unlike other participants in the Teapot Dome scandal, he didn't have to go to prison, but he continued his life knowing that his ambitions caused the tragic death of his only child. Lucy remarried and continued living at Greystone Mansion for another quarter century until she sold it in the mid-1950s. Today, Greystone Mansion is a public park and event venue managed by the city of Beverly Hills, offering tours and serving as a filming location for TV shows and movies. It is rumored to be haunted, with many visitors and employees reporting strange occurrences, such as unexplained noises, cold spots, and apparitions. Some believe the spirits of Ned Doheny and Hugh Plunkett, among others, still linger in the house. When this mansion appeared on the internet, people were literally shocked, wondering who would need, or more importantly, who could afford a house this big and luxurious. 21 bedrooms, 42 bathrooms, a nightclub, a 400-foot jogging track, a bowling alley, a billiard room, a 50-seat indoor cinema, a gym, a spa, a beauty salon, 5 swimming pools, a 5,500-square-foot primary suite, multiple living rooms and lounges, expansive outdoor entertaining spaces, a library, an art gallery, a wine cellar with the capacity for thousands of bottles, a candy room, multiple terraces and patios, landscaped gardens, a 30-car garage, and panoramic views of Los Angeles. The One Bel Air is the 3rd largest home in America, boasting approximately 105,000 square feet of living space. Real estate developer Niall Niami spent 10 years and $250 million building this mansion with the goal of selling it for $500 million. However, by 2021, when construction was completed, he faced a different reality. The core of the problem lies at the beginning of the story. To build the biggest home in America, Niami borrowed over $165 million from banks, hoping to repay the loans after selling the house. However, Niami became so attached to the One Bel Air that he decided to keep it. despite having no money to repay millions of dollars borrowed from the banks.
Well, I think that I have something very, very exciting, and I believe that I don't have this by chance. I believe that I was always meant to be able to create this house.
As Naomi revealed in his interview with producer Michael, he had planned to turn the One into an event venue rather than sell it. However, he couldn't execute this plan quickly, and the banks were breathing down his neck. A year after the mansion was built, Naomi's loans had grown to $200 million. The banks took full control over the mansions and put the One Bel Air up for auction. The mansion was sold for $126 million, $124 million less than what was spent to build it, and Naomi filed for bankruptcy. He ended up losing not only his beloved mansion, but also all his money. These stories serve as cautionary tales of how opulence and ambition can sometimes lead to downfall.